Welcome back, everyone, to the 8th episode of Empire State of Baseball, May 23rd, 2022. How we doing, everyone?
Doing good. Mets are still in first place, 8 games up. So I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, feeling good, feeling good. I know my arm's feeling better than most of the Mets' arms right now. Actually, sure, so it was a side injury, but overall, feeling pretty good. Both New York teams doing well. Can't complain there. Weather's getting warmer. One of my favorite times of the year, Memorial Day weekend coming up. Always falls around my birthday. Missed it this weekend by sometimes my birthday falls on Memorial Day weekend, but not this year. My birthday's tomorrow, so missed it by a week.
There you go.
There
I was doing much better about 15 minutes ago before the Orioles have just carved up Garrett Cole.
Same.
It's been kind of a damper there.
It's been
There's
a
Garrett Cole
strange-
spider tack. We need him in the chat.
It's all right. I'm going to tell you right
that's
now.
the guy. Where is he? Where's Garrett Cole's spider tack? We already
That's
got a free Corey.
Good question.
That's a record-setting free Corey.
Yeah, real quick.
Awesome. But yeah, I'm doing good, guys. Yankees are still in first place, 5 games up above the Tampa Bay Rays. They have a big matchup this coming weekend against them. But it's been a wild 24 hours or maybe 48 hours to be a Yankee fan. The Yankees dropped the doubleheader of Sunday's doubleheader against the White Sox. And obviously there was big controversy that happened Saturday, which we're going to get into in a little bit. And then, of course, there was a couple injuries. It's been revealed that Luis Heel and Chad Green had forearm discomfort. They're both going for Tommy John surgery. You have a couple of Yankees landing on the COVID IL. So that's still prevalent here in baseball. But yeah, it's been a wild few couple days for Yankee fans here, Tom. Did we lose Tom?
I had to mute myself because I don't think you guys want to hear me cough.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm a fucking professional.
We got to get a bump for you, buddy. But yeah, it's been a wild couple of days to be a Yankee fan. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, listen, you guys as Yankee fans right now, you're chilling. Wild weekend, though. A lot of news coming out of Yankee Town. Let me tell you that. A lot of news coming out of Yankee Town.
A lot of news, and we're going to get into it in just a moment. But first, make sure to tell your friends, if you've already done the job, you the viewers at home, and we thank you so much. But make sure to tell your friends to go download the Twitch app and subscribe to Empire State of Baseball on Twitch. As always, it's the easiest way to get instant notifications of when we go live. And to find that Twitch link, you just got to go to our Twitter page. It's in the bio. Go follow us at ESB Podcast on Twitter. And, of course, our link is in our bio. So if you've already done the job, we thank you so much. But let's get that viewership up for tonight and see some good live viewers, because we got a lot of stuff to cover, including, of course, as we mentioned on our Instagram page as well, the controversy around Josh Donaldson, because it was announced today following Saturday's events that Major League Baseball is suspending Josh Donaldson for the comments he had made on Saturday towards Tim Anderson, and obviously across sports and talking analysts and just the old faithful on Twitter. There's been a lot of back and forth on this whole situation of, pro Donaldson, pro Anderson, pro MLB for the suspension and fine. A lot of stuff happening here as the situation is evolving. And of course, going into the day, we were just thinking, hey, we probably will just discuss what Major League Baseball will do or might not do. But it just was revealed only a few hours ago that Major League Baseball was in fact suspending Josh Donaldson for a game and fining him for an undisclosed amount, unless it's been disclosed since I've last read the article. But it's been a crazy situation here. So I'll throw it to the Mets here, and I'll throw it to Corey or Joe to take this one. What's your takeaways on this entire situation? I'm not looking to debate this with any of you guys, but because this is a bit of a sensitive topic for a lot of people, but let's get into it.
Listen, obviously you have two guys here who don't like each other. Donaldson can say whatever he wants. It's not in it. By calling him Jackie, he was not doing it from a place of an inside joke. These two have been on opposing rival teams the last few years. We've seen several incidents with them before. They're both trash talkers. Donaldson was clearly trying to troll Anderson here. I think where we kind of got it out of hand was automatically jump into the race card. Donaldson had a clear reasoning behind it. in terms of the interview that Anderson gave, comparing himself to Jackie Robinson, which Anderson has a right to do. But when you compare yourself to an all-time great player and you're not quite that player, you're probably going to hear chirps about him once in a while. Donaldson, we troll Adam Ottavino for saying he could strike out Babe Ruth every other day, every time he gives up a home run. So I think there's some of that going on. The fact that Anderson is an African-American, obviously, and Jackie Robinson is the African-American in baseball in terms of breaking the color barrier and being that icon. That kind of puts you in a light where if somebody trolls you on that or goes at you on how you said that, a lot of people take that the wrong way. In this particular case, Donaldson clearly was meaning to demean Anderson, but I don't think it was in a racial way. I think it was in a way that, you say you're the new Jackie Robinson, you're not that good. It's the same way the media hypes up Juan Soto by saying he's the new Ted Williams. Juan Soto pops out to center field and on the right around first base, somebody at first base is like, nice going, Ted. Nobody would ever think the wiser of it. But I feel the race has come into this. Obviously, Anderson took offense to it, which, again, I think it meant to be offensive to him. I just don't think it meant to be in the way of racial. I think it meant to be in a way of you think you're better than you are. Donaldson gets the game suspension. Listen, at the end of the day, it's a benches clearing incident. Whether or not punches were thrown is another thing. And MLB is getting a lot of bad press for it. The suspension is probably warranted simply for the fact that these leagues do not like it when you bring bad press upon the shield. The NFL does this all the time. No matter if you're guilty in the courts or not, we're going to see with Deshaun Watson. If you drag the shield through the mud, you are going to pay for it. Now, one game, it's a slap on the wrist. Donaldson plays 3 out of 4 games anyway, so it really is not that big of a deal for me. I think MLB just wants to wipe this under the rug, and if they had thought that this was racially motivated, the suspension would have been more than 1 game. I think they suspended Yuri Gurriel 5 games for doing the eye thing in the playoffs when Yu Darvish was pitching against them. So at the end of the day, I think it's fine, and everybody should just go back to what they're doing. And
I understand, because there was almost a precedent set up by MLB with the Gurriel suspension, but the Gurriel action, and I'm not trying to compare one to the other. Well, I am going to try to compare one to the other. What am I saying? Gurriel, that was a derogatory gesture that everybody knew exactly what he meant in that one. That was clear as day. And what happened between Donaldson and Anderson happened on the field. It was in slight, it was like just a slight move. You can't really identify what was said unless you were a lip reader. But Donaldson did say himself what he said. Corey, what were your takeaways on this?
Yeah, I think you have to look at the issue as a whole. And I know right now we live in the era where you're guilty until proven innocent, unfortunately. We're also in the social media era where you want to draw headlines. Everything's about clickbait. You want to get those clicks. You want to get that viewership to your site, to your page. So what's the headline going to read? The headline's going to read a racist slur. And everyone right off the bat, 90% of the people aren't clicking that article anyway. So all of a sudden now you're going to fuel a whole storm of hate comments and racism and this and that. But if you actually pay attention, if you actually do the research, you look into it, this is a quote calling himself Jackie Robinson is what Tim Anderson said about himself back in 2019. Donaldson and Tim Anderson used to go back and forth with the Jackie Robinson thing, according to Donaldson at least, for the last several seasons. This is not like it's something new where if he just said it out of the blue, if there was no history at all and Donaldson came out and called him Jackie Robinson, then I would see it, because it's the same equivalence of calling an Asian American player by like Yao Ming or something like that. It's the same exact type of thing. Again, unfortunately, in an era where everyone wants clicks first, where the media loves to race bait, everything gets blown out of proportion. Everything gets blown out of proportion. Read the facts. I thought Stephen A. Smith actually said it perfectly. where he's even saying there's a problem with the lack of African-American representation in baseball. He made a few other comments as well, but he said it perfectly. I agree 100% with what he said. This isn't a racial issue, and it annoys him that they're making it a racial issue because it's clearly not. I mean, I'm with Joe here as well. I think it's blown way out of proportion.
Listen, I think it's Josh Donaldson kind of has to know that you can't win saying that. Like, I understand that there is the history and the interview, but you have to know you can't win that. It's you're fighting an uphill battle. Tim Anderson and honestly Josh Donaldson are two players that thrive on getting under your skin. And honestly, Tim Anderson was probably trying to get Josh Donaldson to hit him or something along those lines to get him thrown out of the game and get him suspended. I don't think he necessarily was trying to get him to say this, but he was trying to antagonize him. That's what Josh Donaldson does to players all the time as well. I think Donaldson I think if you asked him, like, when he was calm-headed, he would say, like, I probably shouldn't have said that. I think, and if you wanted to make the point, you could have made it after the game. You could have said, Tim Anderson is out here doing this and that, yet he compared himself to Jackie Robinson, and I think Jackie Robinson would, blah, 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 whatever the comment, Donaldson wanted to make. You still can use that interview to go at him, just, in not in this way. Again, he got suspended one game. In the reality of the team, it doesn't even really matter. He doesn't play every game anyway. They take him off his feet. He'll probably serve it, in a game that was to be a rest day anyway. So it's, I think it's for him fighting the suspension is a bit of, with the union and just kind of on principle. And yeah, it's a dumb thing to say. But it's, I don't know. That's the
thing. And welcome back, Garrett Cole Spider Tech. Man, he could use some of that today. But listen, and that's the thing. And I'll let Rich jump in here too. If MLB thought it was racist, MLB cannot suspend him for something like this by thinking it's racist, because Donaldson would then turn around with the union and claim defamation against him for basically branding him a racist. So MLB has to be very careful in this particular situation too. And we have to be careful as a society not to jump to a conclusion. I'll be honest with you. I was sitting outside in a barbecue. I got the flash on my phone that said Donaldson called Tim Anderson Jackie. And my immediate gut reaction was, that's not good. That's not good. But when Donaldson comes back and immediately when he is asked the question by the media with no time to really dig it up or anything, he says, no, I said that because he gave an interview in 2019 that he said he was the new Jackie Robinson. That's a complete, I wouldn't even say justification for being a troll, but it's evidence that it is a worthy troll job because it's backed by some substantive reasoning. At least you can say, hey, he compared himself to the all-time, the complete role model of what a black athlete in America should be for the rest of eternity. And he's not that. He's not as good of a player. And that was his justification for it. And I don't blame him.
But you can make that. And Richard, I gotta jump in. I apologize, but like you can make. I think you can make that point not in the way he did. Again, Anderson's trying to get him to do something to get himself in trouble. These guys don't like each other. You can make that point in that interview. Because they've already been fighting at that point. They already been jawing at each other. He easily could make that exact point. How dare he refer to himself as today's Jackie Robinson, look at the way, he's doing, and also comparing him to like the struggles that Jackie Robinson went to is a ridiculous thing. You could very easily say that after the game. Just you open yourself up for all of this by doing it kind of the way you did. At the end of the day, we said it's not going to matter that much because he gets rest anyway.
There was a lot of people today in all forms of media that almost spoke to. It didn't seem like Donaldson was sincere about his apology. I think the fact that Donaldson even brought it up, where he could have just either denied it or brushed the comment away and had it addressed the next day. I mean, I felt like in a way that was pretty commendable that he kind of brought it up and said, hey, like, yeah, it was said, and this is the context for it. But for Major League Baseball to enact this suspension and fine, with seemingly without the proper context, and we don't know 100% of the truth. That's the thing.
I mean,
And
they know
that's
what.
why-
I mean, they know
Listen, obviously
it
he said
happened.
the
Like he
comment.
said
That's
the
without a
thing.
doubt.
He admitted
to
saying it. Like that's kind of what you need to decide.
Right.
Like, yes, there's background to it, but they also know that. So
Yes.
they have the full story at this point. It's what were they going to do with it? Was the question.
Well,
the thing I
in
think
a way it becomes in a way it's a he said. But this is what MLB said earlier today.
Well, yeah, well, it's also Josh Donaldson saying yes, I did say
Right.
it.
Right.
It's
So, there's no dispute of what was said on the field, regardless of Mr. Donaldson's intent. The comment he directed towards Mr. Anderson was disrespectful and in poor judgment, particularly when viewed in the context of their prior interactions. In addition, Mr. Donaldson's remark was a contributing factor in a bench clearing incident between the teams and Warren's discipline. And yeah, obviously, like one thing led to another, but also Donaldson didn't incite that benches clearing argument. That was Yasmani Grandal who caused it. I want to also point out somebody else in this whole thing that none of the guys have mentioned so far, and that's Tony La Russa. As Tony La Russa was the only person in post-game interviews to even attribute this comment to racism. Did you guys feel that La Russa jumped the gun a bit with that sort of comment to incite what happened over the last couple of days? I get protecting your player, but do you guys feel like those comments were too incendiary for a post-game reaction?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think Tony La Russa remembers what he had for breakfast, let alone a comment that Tim Anderson made back in 2019. I think part of it, I think he was trying to defend his player, and obviously his player was on one end of the argument. He's trying to defend him, but I think he did jump the gun. I honestly think he had absolutely no idea about the history there, and just made the comment out of the blue, just a cold statement comment.
Listen, La Russa, we know is not one to think things out very thoroughly anymore. I mean, we've had a couple of issues since he became manager of the White Sox again, where he's said things and does things. Tony La Russa thinks he's baseball immortality, and up until recently, he probably was, and he probably will be again in 10, 15 years from now when everybody forgets this short tenure with the White Sox. But you know what? He jumps the gun. And the problem is when you jump the gun like this, you fuel the flames. MLB has a PR issue on its hand right now. ESPN does not talk MLB on a regular basis. They are talking about MLB all day today. Mm-hmm. And that's not the kind of press that the league wants. They don't want this to be the headline story. They want Aldi Rushman's major league debut, their number one prospect, being the story. They want ESPN to cover baseball for what baseball is. And right now, they're not covering for what baseball is. They're covering it for something that happened on the field. And listen, two mistakes I think were made. One, Donaldson admitting what he said was right. What he did wrong was basically tried to take us for granted in thinking that everybody doesn't know that he dislikes Anderson. He should have just came out and said, I was trying to troll Anderson.
The whole thing that this has been an inside joke with us, like
it's not inside.
Yes, and like that was like I don't know, like you basically you admitted to saying it. Don't that was such a weird.
Well, yeah, because I can play devil's advocate in that regard.
Like that was
and the other mistake I think that was made by the both of them, instead of saying, you know what, I'm not going to comment it. We're going to have a conversation on the field before the game tomorrow. Talk it out like men. Mm-hmm. If Anderson could have said, you know what, maybe I'm misreading it, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I took too much offense. I'd like to talk to him and clarify it. And Donaldson should have said the same.
Well, don't you think Major League Baseball should have set that up between those two instead of handing out a suspension to Donaldson? Because I just feel that would have made more of an impact in this sort of regard. You hash it out, you talk things over instead of suspending the player over, from what you know from what you know from these players, they said. There's a lot of history there between these two. They had the incident last week in Chicago, obviously. But so I think getting these guys together to talk about it, sure. But I feel like this is going to start a ripple effect among baseball players and the limits they need to go when it comes to competitiveness and trash talk on the field. And that's going to be and listen, competition warrants trash talk. It does, obviously, to a fault. But if you're going to get to a point now where players are going to try to stem any sort of brash talk to maybe racism or something derogatory, it's going to have a look at Major League Baseball. I really feel like something like this is going to have a ripple effect in the game.
Listen, yeah, and we've gotten to a reactionary society. And here's the thing: the players are not what they used to be. These players move from team to team far more often than they ever did. So these things, when they do come up and when they do become public, because I think it happens more often than we see it, it's a big deal. Remember, Todd Frazier and Adam Eaton had a big thing for the Met when he was on the Mets. They didn't like each other. They were talking about each other's mortgages and things like that. And at the end of the day, the next day in the morning, after we had 12 hours of back and forth in press and Twitter, they met on the field. They still don't get along, but they talked it out like men. And that's what should happen. And at the end of the day, Donaldson should have just been like, listen, it's not a racial thing. I was trolling him clearly, but it's about him comparing himself to an all-time great. If I compared myself to Babe Ruth and he trolled me and called me Babe, what am I going to do? Like, that's it. So, I think that would have been a better approach here. Let them talk it out. And if they couldn't work it out, then MLB step in and say, okay, both of you need to sit down for a game and think about what your dispute has on an effect on the game. But
if I'm calling Joe Babe, something went cletally wrong with my life.
Well, you're not gonna call him Herman.
Well, definitely not calling you Babe. All right, Corey, let's wrap this thing. Final comments on the situation with Donaldson.
Final comments on it. I hope we don't get any more situations like this. I'm tired of all the nonsense. I want to enjoy the game of baseball. I want to just watch some good baseball games. I'm tired of the off the field nonsense with the negative press. I just want to watch good baseball. That's all I have to say.
Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, listen, I think, like I've been saying, Donaldson did something dumb. He stepped over. He did probably step over a line he should not have stepped over. He's getting a slap on the wrist for it. I think he's going to move on. I think he is realizing that, and hopefully Tim Anderson does too, that like there has to be some sort of line and you're going to compete, but don't go so far where you're going to hurt your team and cause a fight, just to get under people's skin.
Well, you'll have the Yankee fans that are just like, oh, well, this is the sort of player that they traded for. This is the edge.
This is. I mean, we've talked about it. This is what we were. This is the kind, not this specifically, but yeah, we wanted someone that can get under people's skin. But I think there's other ways to do it. He did probably step over the line. He got his slap on the wrist for it, and hopefully he just moves on for this and owns it, and we move on.
Yeah. Joe, anything?
No, I mean, I think, I think everything has to be taken on a case-to-case basis. And, we'll see what happens in the future if these two meet again. I'm sure there's going to be something more, but, I think Donaldson will end up serving the one game, and I don't think it hurts really anybody, and it'll go away for a while. I don't think they play again for a while either. They're
probably done for the season, I imagine.
Yeah, next time would be in the playoffs anyway. So
yeah, and the White Sox stinks, so they're not making the playoffs.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see down the line. All right, boys, we got through that. We're still on the air, so that's good. All right, Joe, Twitters.
So social media, you can follow us on Twitter at ESB Podcast. You can follow Corey at G Gory, myself at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich J Rivera, and Tom here at T Wospil. All on Twitter. Go check out our accounts. We tweet. We try and tweet every day. As same with the podcast when our teams are on. We like to throw comments in there about how our teams are doing on live. So,
all right, yeah, sounds good. Joe, what's next?
Okay, so we're going to go to Chooch's pick of the week here. I believe Rich has the record. Chooch is 5-2 so far this year. So let's see what he's got this week.
All right.
What's up, ESB crew? Chooch back with Chooch's pick of the week. And this week, we got a special one. Chooch had a hard time deciding this week's pick. So we're going to go with both home teams. This time, we're going Yankees versus the Rays. Starting Thursday. This is the first time these two teams are matching up. Rays are second in the division. Yankees are in first place. This is going to be a great 3-game weekend set. And then we're going to take it over to Queens. Mets versus the Phillies, another division rival. Phillies are coming in to take on the Mets. I think the Mets are going to pull out their victory there. And I also think the Yankees are going to pull it out down in Tampa. It's going to be a good weekend for the hometown teams. What do you guys think?
And I think I'm going to pull it out after watching some good baseball this weekend. Oh, man. So,
Matt's going to get us taken off the air.
Matt's got the hometown teams in this one. He was not decisive in this. Phillies at Mets, I believe, right? Phillies are coming into town.
Yep.
And the Yankees are going to be on the road in St. Pete. So what do you guys got in this for both these series? Double pick.
Well, Tom has the Yankees getting swept by the Rays. So
Okay.
I mean, probably. Listen, like I'm personally getting swept by the Rays. I do also want to point out, Chooch mentioned it. The Yankees are playing a 4-game set in Tampa. Start on Thursday, but he said 3-game set. So that I guess could end up being a draw. Which, listen, like it's a weird thing because we haven't seen the Rays this year, so I haven't seen them being scary. But I already know that there's going to be at least 2 dumb things that happen in that dump of a stadium that they play in. There's going to be a ball that gets in a catwalk. There's going to be some other kind of nonsense that happens there. So I don't know. Listen, if you told me the Yankees split in Tampa, I will sign my name on that right now and call it a day. But I'll roll with the Mets as well.
Yeah, no, it's good picks. I mean, I love the support for both the local teams. I did say on record, and I'm not going to do it because it's a 4-game series, but for the next 3-game series, I did, that the first time the Yankees get swept this season will be because of the Rays. And that was with our playoff discussion we had last week. With the 4-game set, I'm not going to say that. I do think it's going to be a split. I'm going to go 2-2 with the teams. Mets-Phillies is a good toss-up. And right now, the Phillies are playing better baseball lately. But that team, they're so fundamentally flawed. They catch the Mets at a good time, though, with McGill still out. Obviously, Scherzer going down. I hope the Mets win. I could see the Mets losing maybe 2 of 3, but I hope they win. So I'll go with Chooch on that one. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think the Mets are the easy pick right now. I don't think the Phillies are the same caliber team as them right now. Their defense is just absolutely pitiful. Harper's not playing the field anytime soon. That means you got Schwarber and Castellanos rolling in the outfield. The only thing I worry about is the back end of the Mets rotation for now. But I'm not too concerned. The Mets have found a way to win all but one series this year. So I'm not too concerned with the way the Mets are rolling right now. Phillies are 8 games out, and you know what? The Mets have a chance over the next 10 days to bury both the Phillies and Braves right now. They got series coming up with both of them. They can really, really put some major distance between them and the Phillies and them and the Braves in the coming week. So, that's a huge spot for the Mets. Both of their aces out. As far as the Yankees are concerned, listen, the Yankees joyride is over right now for the time being in terms of a schedule. They face the Orioles 12 times by the time this series wraps up. That is a lot of games. And, you're not going to have those breaks, although Garrett Cole's not getting a break today. But that's baseball. So I could see the Rays being a thorn in the side and taking 3 of 4 from the Yankees.
I got the Rays and Yankees splitting as well. I think first matchup of the season for these teams. I think it's a good matchup right now. Obviously, the Yankees being the first place team, taking some hits to their lineup with the COVID placements, and just you got some guys that are hurting right now. And yeah, as Joe mentioned, the joyride of the great schedule comes to an end starting this weekend. And I think the Yanks and Rays are it's a good matchup for that weekend. I feel like it's going to be a 2-2 series. I have the Mets sweeping the Phillies.
Ooh, I like that.
Games for
Look
the
at that
Yankees.
bad luck. Take it for what it is. I got the Mets sweeping the Phillies this weekend.
Who's
Phillies is
closing
not a
games for
good
the
baseball
Yankees
team.
in the near future?
Not Chapman. They're probably going to be throwing him on a phantom or a real IL soon. He had MRI on his Achilles, I think, today, and came back clean. But there's either something wrong with him or he's just lost it. So it really, I think we've talked about it before. It should just be kind of by committee. Clay Holmes right now has been absolutely unhittable.
Best best non-closer in baseball right now. Just saying.
Now, 100%.
You'd feel good with that. I know he's been a little shakier of late, but I'd be fine letting Mike King, pitched 8th and the 9th. Loizaga has closed before, even though he's been even a little shaky as of late. If it's a bunch of lefties coming up, but you give me Wandy out there, I'd feel good enough about it. That's kind of where I land on it. I think yes, if you have a guy who is a true closer and has that confidence to go out there all the time, then you roll with that. But if you don't, and Chapman doesn't have that confidence right now, you need to just keep rolling with the hot hand and what's going to make the most sense.
Chapman is the bane of Deputy Nelson's existence, and it was a rough outing for Chapman, rough weekend for Chapman altogether. Obviously, they're going to monitor his injury status to see if he's going to be placed on a phantom stint on the IL. I think for the sake of just giving him some time, make it happen.
I think they did it to him. Was it last year or 2 years ago? They gave him one of those where he was.
Yeah, I mean, it
put
seems
on the IL.
It does seem to be a regular thing with a certain Yankees reliever. But Chad Green obviously lost for the season, and that's probably the nod on Chad Green's tenure as a Yankee here. Tom, how do you feel?
He's been very reliable. He's been at least he's always been there. He's had his ups and downs, more ups than downs. Sad to see him get hurt like that, and hopefully recovers. And I don't know. He's been very good as a Yankee. He really has, despite the couple of bumps he's had on the road. So stinks to see him go. It's just interesting that a bullpen probably 3 weeks ago we would say is impenetrable for the Yankees at this point now. Green gone, Chapman lost.
Loizaga a little off too.
Loizaga a little off.
From the armor starting to show.
Mike King has a little bit of hits been coming. It's becoming a little bit more of a question mark, and the question will be now as we move close into June. Do the Yankees start making moves, and what moves do they start making? I know we're not going to get fully into that right now in tonight's episode. Either for either team, but we are getting to the point where these teams are going to have to start looking at potential weaknesses and how can they improve to shore themselves up for a October run.
Definitely. 100%. And it'll be something too, because I know a while back when we were doing the head-to-heads, I mean, we had the Yankees bullpen miles ahead of the Mets in the head-to-head. But I'll tell you right now, Edwin Diaz, forget about being better than Chapman. He might be the best closer in baseball right now. The guy is exactly what we expected him to be when they made that trade a few years back. But the rest of the bullpen for both teams is kind of a bit of a mess. The Mets get a couple of good things from Drew Smith. Lugo doing a little better now than when he started off this season. I don't know how I would vote that head-to-head. I might go with the Mets actually right now because of how dominant Diaz has been. But overall, the depth for both teams, that's definitely an area where they have to improve upon. And listen, I know we just came out from the Chooch's pick of the week, but I'm going to give you my pick of the evening right now, right? I did a live bet
segment
while we were on the show. I just did a live bet, only $5. I'm being, not too aggressive here. Orioles, Yankees. I took the Yankees. Unfortunately, I had them at plus 122 to come back and win this game. They are now plus 144. I'm telling you, following this Yankee team this whole season, they are going to come back versus the Orioles because either Judge or Stanton is going to end up hitting a big home run. You're going to see Glaber get another big RBI against this Orioles
Probably
team.
Be a cheapie.
Listen, that's a whole topic for debate.
I think Judge already hit like a good, almost 400 one or 380, 390 today. So
Yeah.
But listen, I'm telling you right now, it's 4-2 Yankees in the fifth inning right now. I'm going to give you a final score. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be 6-4 Yankees. Yankees going to win this game.
I would like that. The Yankees just have such a weird feeling right now. Like I really feel like the White Sox took a lot out of our sails this weekend. They were rolling, and this is the first time they kind of been hit in the gut all season. And other than that, the other Orioles series, but after how good they've been playing, it's going to be interesting to see how they can fight back and show some grit. Because we've talked about it. They've had a softer part of the schedule at this point. Got to keep fighting through it. Got to keep winning. Pad that lead so when we go to Tampa and get swept, we can deal with it.
Exactly.
Zero confidence.
Well, we'll see. Yep, we'll see. But anyway, Let's keep it going, gentlemen. All right. Again, YouTube spot. If you want to watch this episode, you want to watch any episode we've ever had. If there's one segment that sticks out in your mind that you just have to rewatch because you love us so much.
Watch them all.
All of them all. Again, follow us on YouTube, Empire State of Baseball. Everything you want to see is up on our page and more even. You can get whatever you want over there. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, we're going to keep it going because there's another team in New York as well. And we brought them up a little bit before with some of the injuries. Queen's Gambit for tonight. Do we have a starting rotation in peril? And I'll tell you what, losing DeGrom, who's arguably the queen of your staff with the best player on the team, you just lost your king in Max Scherzer. Normally that would be checkmate for most teams, but this team is not full of pawns. You have legitimate starting pitching depth on this team. Joe, I'm going to start with you, another fellow Met fan. How are the Mets going to navigate around the injuries, and how do you think we respond?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mets have built this team in a way where they can sustain the injuries. I mean, in past years, like last year, for example, DeGrom going down would have been the end of it, and it was the end of it. This year we've lost DeGrom and Scherzer, and you still have a guy in Bassett who could be an ace on a couple of teams right now. Walker and Carrasco are pitching up to their abilities. Peterson's been fantastic in his brief starts in the majors and in the minors so far this year. You're going to have to live with a guy like Trevor Williams in the fifth spot right now. Thomas Spazicki is going to have to come up, and he's going to have to get his chance, which he might get now.
There's no way you pronounce that name correctly.
It's a tough name.
No way.
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
I don't know how to pronounce it. So, the Mets have built themselves a rotation where they knew going into this that the chances of all these pitchers staying healthy at the same time are slim to none. That doesn't happen in this day and age in baseball. McGill's been fantastic except for one start this year. He was thrown off flat ground today. It looks like he might come back sooner rather than later. That will shore up the rotation in time for Scherzer and DeGrom. And let's face it, the Mets have built themselves a cushion to sustain this. They have enough where Bassett, Carrasco, and Walker is good enough to compete in any series that you're going to have from here on out. So, I could see this going to the All-Star break. The Mets, all they got to do is stay around the 500 mark from now until the All-Star break, and they'll still be 10, 15 games over 500, ready for their two aces to come back, and they'll be good to go. So I'm not worried at the moment. I'd start to worry if DeGrom misses another marker that we may not. There might be more problems than we initially thought here. He is throwing, but he's not throwing off a mound yet, and we got to wait for the next round of MRIs, which I think is another week or two to see if that shoulder's healing properly. But,
Yeah. And listen, we'll see what happens. But I mean, it really this year, the depth has been key. And you said it before, Bassett could be an ace on several teams in this league. Carrasco, Walker doing a fine job. Outside of DeGrom's health, my biggest concern with that Mets rotation was Carlos Carrasco. It was this guy going to be anything that he was back in Cleveland. And we remember him being a very good pitcher over there. Last year with the Mets, obviously, a lot of injuries in the beginning of the season. I believe he had that hamstring problem. Didn't come back until July, and he was off. Could never get out of the first inning. You might be down 3, 4, 5 runs before you even take the bat in the second inning. It was pretty rough over there last year with him, but he's been so good this year. It's been a complete 180. Exactly the guy that we thought he was going to be last year, maybe even a little better. Taijuan Walker, again, is he an all-star this year? No, but he's doing a fine job. I have no complaints with him. And you're going to get Miguel back soon. He's coming back. I mean, like you say, he's about to pitch off a flat mound. He'll be back sooner than later. The big two are with DeGrom and Scherzer, and I agree with exactly what you said, Joe. We just have to tread water to the All-Star break, play 500 ball week in, week out. You're still going to be well over 500. That should be enough to still keep you between that 5 to 10 game lead margin in the division. You're going to get, hopefully, your two guys back, and those will be your deadline acquisitions.
Yep.
I still don't know if DeGrom pitches for the Mets this year. I'm actually willing to bet he will not throw a single pitch this year. But Scherzer, I have no doubts coming back. He'll be fine.
Yeah, and internally speaking, they do have some major league veterans that could log in some innings. Not many. They are on the older side. You got your Mike Montgomerys, you got your Trevor Cahills, if need be, if they need to go down that route. But I saw this option that was interesting, an external option. I like from the Staten Island Ferry Hawks. How about this guy? How about this guy? Julio Teheran, who I think has a 1.20 ERA right now at the Hawks. Screw it. Give him a 1 month contract. See what happens.
I'll tell you what, he used to always kill the Mets back in his prime. Back in
A
like
really
that
interesting way to pronounce Tehran, though.
Tehran.
Oh,
Yep.
whatever.
He used
Send
to
me for a
always
show,
kill
Tom.
the Mets, though. Listen, not a bad play. The guy who I want back, I want my Bartolo Colon, baby.
I saw that over the weekend too.
That guy.
Yeah.
I absolutely
No,
love it.
no more Bartolo.
I love it. The
Find a
guy is a
Bartolo.
Chooch. I love him. Actually, while we're on the pitching subject, we have to just a little breaking news real quick before we keep going with the Mets here. We actually have a perfect game alert at the moment. Sixth inning of the Dodgers and Nationals game. Tyler Anderson perfect in the sixth inning.
Dodgers will pull him after 7.
Oh, 100%. They don't care about anything.
30. What's Anderson? 34-year-old journeyman. They'll pull him and save his arm.
Tyler Anderson is the streamer's darling right there. That
Yeah.
guy's been thrown around the league so much. I mean, I talk about any fantasy league that has normal players. John Hernandez, shout out to you. If you get a Tyler Anderson perfect game right now, you're saying perfect game alert?
Perfect game in 6 innings right now. Yep, he's
Anderson.
currently in the 6th. Let's see, the Dodgers are up to bat, so he's perfect through 5.
All right. Well, we'll monitor that. Tom, any notes on this Mets rotation and the best maybe trade deadline acquisitions of Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, as Corey mentioned here?
I mean, listen, the Mets are. It's interesting that the Mets and the Yankees are kind of in similar situations right now, with dealing with some injuries to different types of players, but talking about trying to tread water as they get them back. Whether the Yankees again they have some COVID issues and some guys banged up and now be out for the season, and the Mets have guys that they're hopefully to get back. And listen, this is the advantage of the Mets playing in a Mickey Mouse division with all teams under 500 besides them, who have been fantastic, and the Yankees playing in the AL East.
Mickey Mouse division. The defending champs are in the division.
Mickey Mouse division.
Is anyone else in the division over 500?
No, because they're beating the living snot out of each other. The Mets are just doing it better than the other two teams.
I mean, listen, I am not taking anything away from the Mets. They've been great. They've been, one of the best teams in baseball, but the division it stinks.
I'll pose a question.
The Yankees are dealing with, they're dealing with the Rays and they're dealing with the Blue Jays, two teams that are over 500 and, could be dangerous. And the Mets are dealing with, clowns.
I pose a question to our chat. Would you rather have your favorite team play a cupcake schedule or in a Mickey Mouse division? That's what we want to know.
A cupcake or a Mickey Mouse?
So many times.
I mean, well, I'll be honest though. If you look at maybe this is just I can't think of the right word here. I don't have stats to back this up, but I feel like teams that tend to come out of those divisions aren't as battle tested. We've seen that recently with the AL Central, which is also a Mickey Mouse division, and then teams like the former Indians and the White Sox just get absolutely annihilated in the playoffs because they've played no one all year. I think Mets are better than those
divisions
teams.
Are actually bad. I mean, they got 4 teams and they got 2 teams in each division that are going to be sub 70 win teams. The NL East doesn't have 2 sub 70 win teams. They have 3 85 plus win teams and 1 mid 70s win team. It's all right, the Nationals are terrible, but you look at the Central divisions, I mean, the Tigers and Royals are going to win less than 70 games probably.
Oh yeah, they are absolutely worse.
The Cubs and Reds are just atrocious.
Let's put it this way: if we're talking about both these teams staying 500, if playing 500 ball, let's just say to July 1st from now on, if the Mets do that, the Mets will be probably still 10 games up in the division. If the Yankees do that, they will be 2 or 3 games up in their division. That's I don't know how you can argue that.
I'm not going to argue you there.
Yankees have a top division. We know that. It's just the Yankees schedule has been extremely conducive, and even the Red Sox are dangerous. but you're not going to call your division a Mickey Mouse division if the Red Sox and Blue Jays are sub 500 at certain times. You're not going to do that. They're two teams. So the Braves being sub 500, the Braves are still one of the most dangerous teams in the league. Nobody would want to face them in a 5-game series if they had to choose.
Rather face them than the Rays. Oh, all rise. Tie game.
Oh,
Cheapy.
we have a tie game.
that Judge?
Oh,
Judge
yeah, it was a
with
nice
second
cheapie. A
homer.
good, probably 380.
Was it Judge?
It was Judge.
I told you guys.
Sterling thinks that ball was caught.
Corey,
I said it.
Corey, I would kiss you on the mouth right now if I could.
I said it. I said it not even 15 minutes ago that
You
it was
sure
going to happen.
Yeah. Good teams beat bad teams.
Judge
I
might
tell
hit
you-
that
I
one
tell you
too
what,
cleans.
Every time Judge puts a ball over the fence, he gets more and more expensive. And
Oh.
the Yankees.
I'll be honest. If it wasn't for this Donaldson thing, that was going to be probably our main talking point today with Aaron Judge, because we need to save some good time to talk about this Aaron Judge stuff.
I was going to say, at this point, I know we're not going to get fully into it. Over under $320 million is he going to get?
I think it'll be under 320. I think it'll be 300 almost exactly.
I think his problem is the years. It's not going to be the money.
It's just he is.
It's the age.
Oof.
I don't know if he gets 10 years. I think he gets 7 or 8. And I think you need the 10 to go over that 320 mark, because that would be 32 mil a year. Whereas I think he could get over that mark. I think he could get 35 a year, but I think it's probably going to be for 7 or 8. I don't. Teams don't want guys like Judge. You're not going to sign a Pujols into a Pujols contract.
If they signed him 8 years, $40 million a year, it's 320. I know $40 million a year is crazy.
That's a lot. He's not getting $40 million a year. He'll get 35 a year.
He'll get at least
40
$35
million.
That's
Trout
the Rendon
territory.
I think this whole thing with Aaron Judge warrants us a monthly segment to check in on Judge's contract status.
Where we can have like a monthly, like where do you think the contract will be?
Judge tracker. Yes, we're gonna. We can actually, and what I'll say right now, barring any other crazy story, any like Donaldson, Anderson sort of stuff, I say next week on the show we allot time. We talk about the Aaron Judge thing next week. And by the way, speaking of which, breaking news on this this episode number 9 of Empire State of Baseball. Next week's episode of the show will actually not be next Monday because of the holiday. Of course, Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's going to have a great time, hopefully, and get plastered. I need you to come in sober on Tuesday night, because Tuesday we'll be here live right here on Twitch. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern time. A special day for us. So Tuesday, May 31st will be our next episode of Empire State of Baseball, and we will talk about Aaron Judge. We'll make sure to cover all of Aaron Judge and what he's worth and what we think he's worth, and we're going to get into it all next week.
Yep, sounds good to me. Listen, nice Tuesday special. We mentioned a few weeks ago that Tuesday was our least favorite day of the week. Maybe not next week. Might not be that bad Tuesday.
No, it's still
at least night.
It's still gonna be horrible.
Oh, the morning will actually be worse.
Oh.
The morning will be worse, but at night, everyone can tune into us.
I don't know. Does a Tuesday after a Memorial Day Monday mask itself as a Monday?
I think it doubles down on the first day after a holiday weekend, though.
I don't
So
know.
you get
I don't know,
down.
but you feel well rested. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think after the long weekend, you know, like my whole thing is to try to trick myself. So next Tuesday, I want to feel like it's Monday. So then all of a sudden, at the end of the week, you feel like it's only Thursday and you're done. So that's going to be my my goal. And having the show on Tuesday is going to help. It's going to feel like a Monday.
All right. There we go. So next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, make sure you're here for it. And if you're here on Mondays at 8 o'clock next week, then you didn't tune into this week's show. So sorry, man. All right. Tom.
So moving on. Yeah, just shut up, Rich. Moving on here. Listen, just a reminder for all of you to follow us, Empire State of Baseball on Instagram, ESB Podcast on Twitter. Make sure if you are watching us live on Twitch right now, thank you. If you're watching us on the replay on YouTube, thank you. But make sure you're subscribing to us in both of those areas. Helps us out a lot, and we want to continue to do the show for you and growing those subscribers, and all of that is going to help us along. And will help us be able to do more fun segments like we will do to close out the show today. which is a segment we've done once before already. And that is going to be the trick of the trade. So this week, it was me and one of the Mets fans that I forget, Joe. We have trades in Yankee Met history. We'll propose them to the group and see if the rest of the group can figure out the missing piece in the trade. So we'll start with my trade here, the trick of the trade. This was a big 1-for-1, a guy. This is in the height of the Yankees, just bringing in guys at like 35, 36-year-old, like former All-Stars. This is the epitome of that. In July 30th, 2008, the Yankees acquired Ivan Pudge Rodriguez from the Detroit Tigers for who?
Ooh. All right. It's a good one.
I have a guess, and I might be too early for this guy. But my guess would have been Jabba Chamberlain.
No.
Nah, he lingered for a while.
Jabba, I think, stuck around with the team for another 2 or 3 years before he.
That would be my. That would have been my.
Jabba. He did. I mean, he did end up in Detroit. That is true. But Jabba. That's later in the 2010. It's a little after that. But a very good guess.
This is tough. I'm trying to think now because Pudge Rodriguez is one of the most random guys. Like if you're thinking of random Yankees, he was one of them.
Yeah.
He came at such a late time, well after his prime.
This isn't the Bobby Abreu, Gary Sheffield time when it felt like the Yankees every year were just trying to like just build back the best 2000 All-Star team they could.
Yep, I'll tell you what. All right, I'm really drawing a blank. Would we be able to get fielder or pitcher?
So it is a pitcher. Don't say it's a relief pitcher. It is he was even close with the Jabba and the reliever. So a relief pitcher, a guy who had a 16-year career.
Guy who See, this is like a mid-2000s video game like trade here. You trade a 1-for-1 at the deadline. One had a 16-year career. So I guess at some point, I guess it was he must have been decent enough to stick around for 16 years, and you're trading for a Hall of Famer, who's at the more the tail end of his career.
He certainly had some years.
I know I'm wrong, but but there's one name that's stuck in my head: Tanyan Sturtz.
Tanyan Sturtz.
Oh my God. How is that name stuck?
I don't know. It was the first name that came to my mind. I don't know.
Oh man, I'll give you guys another one. He pitched for your New York Metropolitans in 2014.
Ooh. So Yankee. Kyle Farnsworth.
Good guess. Good guess.
Speaking of just jackass players that get under your skin.
Yep.
Kyle Farnsworth.
All right.
You know what? It just he said the Met thing, and I was like, you know what? That's got to be it, because I remember Farnsworth on the Tigers because he was on the Tigers for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was there for a little bit.
And I remember Yankee fan hated Farnsworth.
He did. I think he did 2 different stints. He actually only played 2 years for the Tigers. He pitched with the Tigers in 2005.
Okay.
He pitched for longer for the Yankees. He pitched 2.5 years for the Yankees. The Yankees traded him in 2008. He finished out 2008, and then he went to the Royals. I mean, he's a guy who pitched for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in his career. So definitely bounced around a lot.
The Yankees and Tigers are pretty good trading partners. I mean, obviously there's this deal here. You think back on the 3-way deal when Granderson became a Yankee, Austin Jackson became a Tiger. I think of like the more lesser known Justin Wilson trade where Chad Green became a Yankee because of it. I'm probably just giving away good tricks of the trade here, so I'm just gonna stop talking. All right, we'll move on to the Mets deal here. What do you guys got over here?
All right, so in 2015, the trade that a lot of people forget about preceding the Cespedes trade. But the Mets acquired Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe for Rob Whalen, cash considerations, and this player.
Okay. I'll ask, was this player a major league player at the time, or was he a prospect?
He was a prospect at the time.
Okay.
I believe.
I have a feeling I know who it is. So I'm going to defer to the Yankee fans first. before I take a guess.
So if he was a prospect at the time, then he probably would have came up, 2016, 2017.
Yes, he did not debut with the Mets.
Oh, then maybe I'm wrong.
He did debut with the Braves.
Was it? No, that's too far. I was thinking Ryan Church, but I think that's too far.
Oh,
back.
that's way back. Yeah.
No, he was a major league player at that time.
Yeah, 2015.
He
right.
pitched. He's pitched in the big leagues as recent as last year.
Oh, and you said pitched, so he's a pitcher.
So yep. So he's a pitcher.
Okay.
I'll try to give you guys, before I take my guess, I'll give you guys another second. I might not be right, because I think he made his debut as a Met player.
Well, take your shot.
Akil Morris.
No.
Okay.
What? I was going to say, what's an Akil Morris?
That would have been worse than Lenny Harris.
Yeah.
Morris?
Oh, good Lord.
Good God. All right.
I think Akil, because I know they traded for Kelly Johnson twice.
Yes.
Maybe Akil was the second Kelly Johnson trade. Because I do remember Akil Morris trade. I was like, oh man, that guy had some potential. But obviously he didn't, because
they traded for Kelly Johnson so many times. I wouldn't be surprised if Kelly Johnson is the guy in this trade.
They traded him for himself.
Yep. I'm actually looking up Akil Morris right now, because I'm very curious to see what happened with him.
This player got traded for Jaime Garcia in the following year, so he got traded.
Garcia went to the
wasn't
Braves
there long
from the Cardinals.
Post in the 2016 offseason.
Was it Gabriel Yanoa?
No.
Was it Daniel Ponce de Leon?
No.
Okay.
Oh, fun fact. According to Wikipedia, on June 8th, 2016, the Mets traded Akil Morris to Atlanta Braves for Kelly Johnson.
Yeah,
it was a year early.
I'm counting it. I think we should count it.
Yeah.
I think we count it. Was the year wrong? Yes, but
no. That wasn't Juan Uribe though.
So this is the pitch. So you got a pitcher pitch as soon as as the latest as last year. So he's not with a team right now. That's correct.
He is pitching in Korea right now. His most significant amount of time spent was with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ooh.
It's got
with the St. Louis
Cardinals.
Yes.
Don't watch a lot of Cardinals baseball.
And he was a reliever, Joe?
He did both.
He's flex guy. Okay.
Rick Ankiel.
No.
I know it.
Not Ankiel don't play no ball now.
Flex.
He started 49 games in his career out of 173.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm like I'm bumped here.
Give me 30 seconds.
Corey?
30 seconds. 30 seconds. I'm just trying to. God.
Wow, even Corey stumped on this
Mets.
one.
Austin Riley.
Oh, I Mets trade him for so he made most of his starts with the Cardinals. In Korea now.
He was traded in last year at the deadline for Jay Happ.
What was Happ before? Was Happ a twin
Happ
and
was
he went to St.
Happ
Louis?
was a twin, went to the Cardinals.
Okay.
And he was in the Happ trade as well.
So he went to Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota. Who was on Minnesota last year? Fucking loser team.
Josh Donaldson.
No, it was not Josh Donaldson.
He was on Minnesota last year. And he was a Brave.
That would bring us full circle. Dude, I got nothing.
I tap.
John Gant.
I would
Gant.
I would have never gotten that. I would have never gotten that.
John Gant. Didn't even know he was a Met. Wow. All right. John Gant. You got us. You got us on that one. Let's get
that guy. I just looked him up. The guy with like the hair.
He's
the guy with like he's like the long hair and the big beard, right?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah, burly looking,
Yeah, like you know what the weird thing is, I don't know if this is just like an MLB The Show thing, but like in my head, like that guy's a twin. I don't know if he just got like a roster update last year and like I associated with him there. I I don't. Yeah, but all right. Well, hope he's doing well in Korea.
John Gant. Again, here's the comparison. We get with Kyle Farnsworth, 16-year career, John Gant. Like we're just not.
Kyle Farnsworth's been retired for 8 years.
Part of the Yankee trade. Part of the
year.
Yankee trade is one of the greatest catchers of all time, and the Met trade was Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe.
And Kokam Juan Uribe.
All right, well, enough of that. We'll get you guys back in a month on Trick of the Trade, but we'll see you guys here, all you guys here, back for next Tuesday's show. Let's send it around the room. Joe, final words.
I am looking forward to a 9:45 Mets start tonight.
Ooh.
So I'll be watching the Mets until way past midnight because they're in San Francisco. I despise West Coast games. Absolutely despise them. But that's my personal problem this week. So I'll be having some late nights.
Okay. There you go. Listen, I just want to thank. I'm trying to think. I could have said this next Tuesday, but I'm going to give it before. I'm going to thank all our veterans who gave their lives for us on this Memorial Day week, not weekend just yet, but again, all our servicemen out there and women, thank you for your service and RIP. Yep. Cheers.
Tom?
Well, it seems a little distasteful now, but I would like Garrett Cole to final a spider attack because he gave up another home run. 5-4 birds. Don't like that. I don't know. Whatever. Some loser.
Ramon Urias cupcake up. Thank you guys all for tuning in once again. Like Corey, send one out to the veterans as well. Thank you for your time and service. And of course, enjoy the holiday weekend. Stay hydrated because it's gonna be hot out, and try to avoid DJs in Belmar this weekend because it's the opening day for douchebags.
I'll be my best.
And
we'll see you here next Tuesday.
Rich will be first in line.
Yep.
No, Tom, I'm old enough. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Twitch. Thank you so much, and take care.
Let's go Rangers!
Let's do